come on up and join me at the front. For the time we were going to spend together, I was reading a book about what I might use to talk about it, and they suggested I use a skeleton. So I looked around to see if I could find a skeleton, and I got a skeleton that I could use, but it was a life-size skeleton, and it was kind of scary. None of you would have been scared, but there would have been some people out here who would have been. So I decided that instead of using a skeleton, I would use myself, which is also scary. So I wanted to just stand here for a minute and ask you, what's the most important part of the body? Here's my body. What's the most important part?
The brain.
The brain? Yeah, the brain is really important. None of the rest would function if we didn't have the brain, would it? But if we were just a brain, we'd be a blob sitting there somewhere, wouldn't we? Mm-hmm. Pardon me? Is it the back? The spine. The spine is really important, isn't it? Yes, that's right. The spine is really important. It holds us up.
The heart.
The heart is really important. It beats. All of them are important. You know what? I was the other day I was watching somebody and I was thinking, aren't our feet amazing? I mean, they're not very big. They're, for some of us, they're bigger than others. But still, to hold us up like this, they're pretty tiny things, so they work pretty efficiently, don't they? Our brains, our hearts, our spines are all important, but our hands are important because we can pick food up to eat it. And our legs are important because they get us to go somewhere. So the wonderful thing about our body is every part of it is important, and that's what Paul said. Every part of the body is really important, and they all have their part to play. And without each of the parts, we wouldn't be who we are. And Paul said that sometimes groups, communities are like that too. That in a community, some people have one gift, and some people have another gift, and together they can do things that they can't do individually. And I was reminded, you know, when I was younger, I was a minister in Japan, and I went to a school there. Now, I don't know what your classrooms are like, but in Japan, at that time anyway, when I went into the classroom and observed, the class was divided up into 5 different groups. And for all of the work that they did it as these separate groups. And you know, when they had an assignment to do, when they had to do an assignment, no one person got the grade or passed the assignment. The group got the grade, all of them together. And so they quickly learned that if they were going to do an assignment that had some art to do, they quickly learned who was the best artist, because they wanted the best one to do it so they'd get a good mark at the end of it. Or who was a good writer. He or she was given the assignment of doing the writing so that it would be the best. So the neat thing about it was that they got to watch each other and see who was the best at this and who was the best at that. And whenever they had an assignment, they'd say, okay, you do this, and I'll do this, and you do that. And they worked together on it. That was great. I think it had some downside too, because, you know, I mean, maybe I wanted to be an artist, but I never got a chance because they always picked the best one. So I would never be the artist if the assignment was held. But I thought that was a really neat way of getting them to get to know each other and observe each other. And each of them had a part, and they put it together for the whole. And then one more thing that they did there, which was interesting, was each of the groups had a job, and they did it for 1 week. one group would tidy up the classroom and clean off the boards and make it really nice. And another group had the cloakroom, and they made sure that the cloakroom was kept neat and tidy, so when you went through, it wasn't all messed up with shoes all over the place. And they had a hot lunch every day. So another group's job was to go and get the hot lunch and bring it in and serve everybody, and then gather up the plates after and take them out. And another group, they had to go to the washroom and clean up the washroom and put paper towels and stuff and clean the sinks and everything. Each of the groups had a job to do, and they would switch the jobs around every week. And then on Friday, each of the groups got together and they decided which group was the best group for that week. So one group was named that this was the best group that week. And all of them had to decide that together. And they had to say why they picked that group. Sometimes it was because they did the best job. Sometimes it was because a couple were sick, so everybody else worked together to do their job. They all had to pick the best group each week. Mm-hmm.
If they had to pick the group, and it was in my school, that would not go well. Everybody would just argue and say, no, it's my group. And then...
Well, if that happened on Friday, they'd be there till Saturday to pick the best group, because the teacher wouldn't let them go until they did. So I guess you'd have to learn to cooperate.
They wouldn't really cooperate. They would just say they're the best until the other people gave in.
So Paul told us, remember, when you're in a group, it's just like a body. Each one of us has a part to play, and together we can do wonderful things. Separate, we can't do much of anything. I mean, the brain is important, but we can't move around if we don't have arms and legs and feet and stuff like that. So his lesson to us is to cooperate and work together, because we can do wonderful things if we work together. But you're right, sometimes we start fighting with each other and then nothing gets done. I don't think that happens with the body, does it?
No.
Well, maybe sometimes it does if we work hard on getting our muscles going and we don't learn with our heads, or else if we become real studious students but we don't exercise our bodies. That's another discussion.
Or if you eat a certain food and it makes your stomach hurt.
Yeah, that's right.
But you like the food.
But you like it. I know that feeling.
Why would you like it?
Well, because I like fish and chips. But when you get old like me, deep fried food is not good. Anyway, it's time to go off to your classes now, and we're going to sing as you start to go, and we're going to sing. You'll be familiar with the fact that we sing. We are marching first in English, then in Swahili, and then back in English again. So stand up so you can march.